Recording in progress.
We are at the Town Hall in Watertown, meeting in the Town Council chambers on August 12th, 2024. And I'd like to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes, sir.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Roll call.
Robert Vitalik,
Here.
Robert DeCina,
Here.
Gary Lafferty.
Here. Ken Demers will be coming in a minute.
Okay.
He just called me, said he's running a little late.
Sorry, it's first time. When people aren't here, do you still want me to call their name and then just get no
Yeah,
response?
Probably should. We'll
Okay.
just say absent.
Okay. So Ken Demers coming soon,
Yep.
and Karina Noyd.
Is it Rachel Ryan, right? That's all right. Yeah, and Rachel's out of town on vacation.
Sorry about that.
No, we just started.
Thanks, Rob.
Okay, we're going to close under that. Public participation, just so I know there's a couple people, the public here. We limit public participation for 5 minutes. So whoever wants to come up first and address the committee. Okay, welcome. Right, come up to the mic, please, so you could be recorded. There's,
Ray Casitas, 210 West Road,
yep. There you go.
All right. Ray Casitas, 210 West Road. The reason why I'm here is the Guernseytown Road project. I have a couple of concerns. One of them is, after all the heavy rain we've had, I'm a little confused as to why the contractor was allowed to take all the silt fence down on the entire job, except for the 14 feet in front of my house. That's still there. But my bigger concern is I'd like to have someone go out. I understand that things work well on paper and not necessarily in real world. But when you come down from Guernseytown towards my house, the road is angled exactly into my light pole. And if you measure catch basin to catch basin, inside to inside is 22 feet, which makes it 18 feet of usable road. Cars can't even get, I mean, I know now there's 4 inches down below the catch basins now, so the cars aren't gonna go over that. But I see that being a problem, all the time, but also in the winter more than that, because they're coming down the hill.
You're talking about from Platt coming down
No, coming
towards,
from Guernseytown down.
Okay.
My house is the first house on the left,
okay,
right across from the third tee of the golf club.
okay.
So that area right there is a little hairy. And I know if you go down farther where the road, the old road is there, that road is much wider. So on that turn, it's if you come from Guernseytown down and look at it, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Okay.
It's sketchy.
What's your address, Ray?
210. Again, just bringing it to your attention before it gets paved, because it's a lot easier to fix it now than it is to fix it later.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Okay?
We'll have somebody
Thank
take a
you.
look at it.
Which one?
You just lead.
Anyone else that would like to address the committee? Okay. We'll close under public participation. Can I get approval of the minutes of June 10th?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of the Public Works Subcommittee meeting of June 10th, 2024.
I'll second it.
Okay, seeing we have a second, do we have any discussion on the minutes?
I'm good.
Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Nobody. Thank you. Correspondence? I see we don't have any.
I do just want to talk a few things. Jerry Lukowski, Director of Public Works. There has been numerous correspondence on flooding, drainage, potholes, paving in depressed catch basins, but we're handling them at our level as best as we can.
Okay. Thank you, Jerry. Jerry's out of town, so that's why he's on a Zoom with us. All right, old business.
Okay, just to give an update on old business for pavement management. Paving will be started on Middlebury Road. The final 2 days of paving will be this Wednesday and Thursday. We had a couple of pipes that were collapsed, and actually underneath portions of the road was stone subbase, kind of like stone walls that were like the original construction of the road. So we had to get through that part of the project in order for us to finish this coming Wednesday and Thursday. And then we'll have a punch list items after that. The crew will then go over to Evelyn and Barbara to start with the full depth and pavement reconstruction of those 2 streets. And then we're lining up for the chip seal, chip stone, and fog seal, starting in about 2 to 3 weeks. We already received the material at the transfer station for those roads. That's all I have for A, unless there's any questions.
None here, move on.
Okay, Wilson Street Bridge, we did have a DOT inspection a few weeks ago. There's 2 punch list items that we're working with the contractor. One is on an outlet pipe on the downstream side of the bridge. And another issue is on the inlet side where there was some scour that they're gonna backfill both of these areas with concrete once we get low flows with Dayton doing the work. And then the landscaping will be coming in last in the month of September. We didn't want to put it in at this time of the year with the heavy heat. And finally, we'll have an audit of the project. It comes at the end. Mainly, it's a financial audit done by the DOT and DPW and fiscal within the town of Watertown. Any questions on B?
Nope.
Okay, Guernsey Town project update. The utilities have been our biggest issue with first starting with Eversource kicking off their subcontractor about 3 months ago. We got through that. Then we had to work with Altice, and then Frontier, and then Comcast. Finally, the poles did come out today, but the overhead utility work is not complete. I would like to thank Gary for helping me out with Comcast and pushing them because they're not even really listed in the town's register for utility companies. Then they're going to prepare for the final paving this week and do paving into next week. I am going to follow up with the engineer with that concern for 210 West Road, just to make sure those dimensions are correct and on the design guides. Without the paving on the catch basins, it does make the road look about 4 to 5 feet narrower. I did notice it myself, and I did bring it up, and they said it was within the design standards. But I'm just going to follow up more with that. And plus, it was also to reduce the speed coming off of Guernsey Town onto West Road. When you narrow the road, you do reduce the speed as opposed to keeping it wide open. Any additional questions on Guernsey Town?
None.
I'll go to Main Street with Ty and Bond. We just recently completed the negotiation on hours with Ty and Bond and the DOT. They're currently working their hourly rates, which are audited hourly rates from the DOT. And I hope to have a purchase order and a contract in hand by the end of this month. And then they'll be able to start the preliminary design. This initial contract is only for the preliminary design. And it's also a lot of public outreach along Main Street for that. It's anticipated to be right around $280,000 to $300,000 for the preliminary design for Main Street, which is 2 streets above Route 6, all the way down to French Street. And then we have a second designer that's underneath Ty and Bond called FHI that will start the study mainly from French Street down to the Pin Shop building.
Okay.
I have a question on this one.
Yeah.
Jer, it's Kenny. Why did we use 2 different design firms for that?
It's really under Ty and Bond, the 2 different companies. FHI has more of a strength. They came in as really it's one, but FHI is a sub underneath Ty and Bond.
Okay.
If we went through Ty and Bond with it, it would actually, they would put their markups on top of that. So they did come in together. They did win out of the 5 or 6 folks that we interviewed. Ty and Bond with FHI was far above that. And it's 2 distinct things. Ty and Bond is more for the preliminary design into the full design, and FHI is more of public outreach to further develop Oakville so we could go after additional grants from the state and federal government.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll move to detention basins. We have 76 in the town, 50 that we maintain as the town, and 25 that are commercial businesses. We did have a contract that was put out to bid. So we had 10 of them that were cleaned in the past 30 days. And we're already seeing at those locations a reduced amount of flow because the detention basin is doing its job. And we're planning to go out with highways in October with our 60-foot stick that we rent for a month to hit a couple other locations. Primarily, we're going to go after the Pearl Harbor Bridge for about 3 to 5 days worth of work because probably 2/3, if not more, is already filled back in underneath the Pearl Harbor Bridge. Any questions on detention basins?
I don't. Okay, go ahead. Chair, it's Kenny. The 25 commercial basins, have we had any luck with getting them to pitch in and clean up?
No, I've been working with the permit holder is planning and zoning in inlands and wetlands. More inland and wetlands for them to get that site developed. They had to get a permit. And we haven't received any traction with them communicating with the commercial property owners.
Okay. Thank you.
Chair, it's Rob. I got one more question. Do the detention basins also include the holding ponds in town?
They are not the holding pond. Like if you have a pond, it's really not the detention basin. The detention basin is supposed to drain out after the storm, like within the next 12 to 24 hours. So I'm not counting any of the ponds that we have in town that we might own. But for this round, we focused on the Turkey Brook, and we focused 2 of them on Steel Brook. Last year, we heavily focused on Steel Brook, and the following year, next year, we're going to focus back on the Turkey Brook. I meant the Steel Brook.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, the next one is the DEP stewardship permit landfill. We're going to have a public hearing on 10 September. It's a requirement to have this hearing in order for us to get our stewardship permit. The current one expired, a few years ago, but they said it still is in place until this next stewardship permit is in place. So the public hearing is gonna be on 10 September. And I was just on their website and I noticed that Thomaston is going the week before us, so I'm gonna make sure I listen to that. And basically, I understand that the big change that they're gonna have this time is they're gonna want us to test for PFAS and PFAS, the forever chemical that's been given the country, you know, a problem. Mainly you would see it first in firefighting foam, that probably the firefighters went to get different type of foam for that. So it's gonna be advertised in the paper, which it has, and also on the radio, to stress that there is a public meeting on 10 September. I've been working with the coordinator from the DEP, Kelsey Shields, and the commissioner of the DEP actually is the one who signs off on the stewardship permit. And it gives us our boundaries, that what we have to do. And the biggest thing that we have been doing is quarterly testing around the perimeter of the landfill and about a dozen local houses that surround the landfill.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on that? Okay. All right, you're all set to move on.
Okay, the next one's the highway garage. I did meet with a company last week, Gordian and Millennium. They are on the Capital Region COG list for bidders, and they use a job order contract for them to do the work. I talked to Kim Boma from the Capital Region COG, who's the purchasing agent, and more importantly, I talked to Susan DeSena, who's the DECD who holds the grant, and they said it's definitely a mechanism for us to utilize for our STEEP grant. And I know what I submitted for on paper is probably worth $1 million to $2 million. So for the $500,000 we're getting from the state, and we do have to provide a $100,000 town match, our goal is to get a roof, a fire alarm, and to do the majority, if not all, of the windows. And that's where we're probably gonna run out of funds. So in the next month or two, I'm gonna need a public hearing. It's a reimbursable project, which means I need all $600,000, and $500,000 will be reimbursed back to the town for the improvements for the garage to get us through the next 3 to 5 years as we go after hopefully a new garage, highway garage for the town.
4 to 5 years. Okay, any questions on that, guys? No? Okay, no questions there.
Okay, I'm gonna go over to new business. I'm gonna get some help from the room. Paul's gonna handle the ADA sidewalks. Paul?
Yes, Chair. Commission members, on the ADA sidewalks, we received a review from District 4 up in Thomaston a week or two ago. They've already reviewed the project like 2 years ago, but they had some more comments I didn't expect to get. They're looking for, it's mostly on their roads. I mean, it's not just, there's a bunch of, ramps on Main Street and Buckingham, which is the two primary state roads that we're doing ramps and sidewalks. And they're looking for things like stopping sight distances that I could have given them 2 years ago, but now it's not something we're not able to give them. It's just like, why did you bother this now? But anyway, we'll get them. And one of the things that really got us, they're talking about, there's a regulation on their state roads, if the speed limit is 40 miles or greater, and there's one point on Buckingham, I think it's on the 262, or up near Mount Fair, if the speed limit's 40, if you're revising sidewalk crossing ramps, you have to put in RRFBs, or those reflashing rapid rectangular flashing beacons that we're trying to get on Main Street for, like, we're not, just to update some ramps, we're not spending 30, 40,000 on a set of beacons, just, I'm not sure, we may have to take out 1 or 2 ramps, but it's nothing, it is what it is, so. And just today, I received a review from NVCOG. I was going through, I didn't complete all the 100 sheets that they reviewed, but it's fairly minor, some typos and a couple of things about payment items, but nothing that we can't get ironed out in the next few weeks, hopefully. But I mean, this has been going on for like almost 4 years now, and I'm trying to get this thing out. Don't know if we're going to get out to bid this year, but at least for next spring, we'll hopefully get these 100-plus ramps going. So that's where we're at.
Okay. Thank you.
And thanks, Paul. And the next one, I'd like to, and thanks for getting it through the NVCOG and for the DLT. We thought we were just gonna get the COG comments first and the DLT second, but they basically came in at the same time today and a week ago. Next, I'm gonna turn it over to Bob
Good evening, subcommittee members.
for the next 2 items, Killer Road and the vac truck.
Killer and Road drainage. So far, we've installed 320 feet of pipe, 3 flat top catch basins, 1 double catch basin, and we are currently rebuilding an existing catch basin at the top of the hill to tie in the rest of our drainage at the top of the hill. And we are also going to be replacing approximately 300 feet of pipe. That work that we just did was on the north side. Now we're going to be replacing approximately 300 feet of pipe, which is metal corrugated pipe, and as you guys know, that's bad news. The bottom's rotted out, so while we're there, we're going to replace that pipe and some catch basins on that southern side. And once our drainage work is complete, we will finish the paving that we came in off of Guernsey Town Road, and we got about halfway down the first section of Killer with the new pavement, and I'm waiting for this drainage project for us to finish up that paving. So we're looking at probably, weather dependent, at least another month of us digging out there on Killer Road. As far as the, do we have any questions on Killer Road?
Nope.
Would you like I have the letter that we drafted, me and Jerry, in reference to the replacement Vector, to replace the one that we lost in the fire. Would you guys like me to read the letter for the record?
I think you should just go over the financial end of it. I know I had a discussion with Jerry about it briefly.
Yep.
But I think that how much money we received and how much money you think that it's gonna cost for a new one.
Correct. Well, we are certain on the cost of the new one, which is $624,818.05. That is pre-bid through Sourcewell. So there's no bidding process needed. It's a government-sourced bidding process. We did receive $276,032.49 from the insurance company for the old Vector. And then we are also budgeted $80,000 for a payment for that same Vector for this year. So in total, we have $356,032.49 currently to put towards the new Vector. That will leave us a remaining balance of $268,785.56, which if we break it down into the existing $80,000 payments that we were making on the old Vector, that will leave us 3 years' worth of payments at $80,000 and a final payment of $28,785.56. So basically, we are just extending the payment schedule that we had by roughly 2 years over the old Vector. The new Vector has a couple of features that are in addition to what we had with the old Vector. Now this new machine can vac on the go, which I would explain by if we were to clean out the leaves out of a drainage ditch, the leaves and the debris that build up in time, this new machine can vac and move at the same time. So basically what we're doing is we're saving the grade all operation or the backhoe operation, going out and digging mechanically by hand, or not by hand, by machine, all of these drainage ditches. This machine we can use to maintain annually our drainage ditches instead of waiting for them to plug up and then have to go dig them out with a machine. I've listed a whole slew of benefits to having this machine. And many of them are the same as the old machine. And another addition, not only to the vac on the go, is this one also has a water pump built into it that, if you remember when we did the 48-inch drainage pipe on the crossing on Northfield Road, we rented a water pump specifically for that job, and we would not have needed it if we had had this new machine here. It has its own water pump built into it. That was $1,000, close to $1,000 rental right there for that water pump for the time that we had it.
Bob, if I could just butt in here for a second, just in
Yep.
case anybody in the room doesn't know, the vac truck that we did have was in the barn that burnt down. And that's why this is being discussed now, is to replace it.
Correct.
Sorry, go ahead.
We started a rental process with American Rooter, I'm sorry, down on Route 6 across from the old Westbury Corner Store, or where it used to be Pasta Heaven. And that cost in total is about $2,100 a day. So if you look at that cost added up for the hours that we would use this machine for one season, this very first season, we would save $75,000 with the ownership of our own machine.
Rob, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
A very important and necessary piece of equipment, without a doubt. Where would this piece of equipment be garaged and housed?
We have a few options, and one of the options, because we are slowly switching our garage to use mainly salt. If you guys are familiar with our salt and sand bins at the garage, we have one large one for the salt and sand and one smaller one for the salt. We are considering changing the smaller salt bin to a storage facility for a tall machine like that, which is the reason why it wasn't in the highway garage during the time of the fire, and using the bigger salt and sand storage bin for just salt. So it's an option. We have a few other options we're tossing around. We don't have any place inside right now to keep it. Also, we have some time because there is probably a year's wait on ordering a new machine. They're that backed up. They're pretty far behind. There is a chassis coming down the line that we can obtain once we get your permission. That's what our Vector will be built out of. But until that time, it's just penciled in right now. So, but we're looking at a year's time between the chassis being built and then the Vector being built around that chassis.
Wow, yeah, I know that they have the same issue going on now with fire trucks, that, you know, they can't get the chassis for fire trucks either, so.
Correct.
Okay. Is there anything else?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Gary.
What was the original cost of the old vac truck?
I believe it was around $550,
550?
yes.
And we're only going to get half of that, like 276, you said?
Well,
For the
it's
insurance?
not really half of it because we hadn't finished paying for it yet.
Right.
Yeah,
So I believe the insurance company paid up to what we had paid off so far.
all right. So, and, what else? All right, yeah, that's all I had.
I have a quick one through the
Oh, I
chair.
had one more.
Go ahead, Gary.
No, the upper, the insurance company, was this from the location where the barn was at, for their insurance company?
I don't know whose insurance company paid out.
I don't know if
It was
had, like-
Travelers Insurance Company, I do know
Okay,
that.
I don't know if the town had like renter's insurance or something like that,
That I don't know.
yeah.
No, this was from our insurance company, the Travelers, for
Right.
our entire fleet that we received the claim back on June 14th for that.
All right,
Bob, what year was that truck, the last vac truck we had? How old was it?
2021.
Was it 21? I thought it was older.
We
Yeah.
probably ordered it before 2021. But that one also too, that was a Freightliner chassis, which we had specified that chassis to match our current 10-wheel trucks. So the engine, transmission, and rear axles, front end, everything was the same, all the filters the same, all the parts manuals all the same. The wait time for that Freightliner chassis was pushed out to a year and a half, almost 2 years. So we ordered, or we didn't order, I'm sorry. We want to order the new Vector with a Western Star chassis, but it's going to be spec'd the same with the same Detroit DD13 and the same Allison automatic transmission, the same 66,000-pound GVW package. So basically, it's going to look a little different, but all the parts underneath will be the same.
So you get a 3-year newer vac truck for $74,000 with a couple of extra options.
Correct.
Doesn't sound so bad.
Right.
One more, Bob.
Good
Now,
work, Bob.
we don't have the amount of what the chassis is going to be for this committee tonight to support the moving forward to the town, or you do have that amount?
For the completed truck?
For the, I guess we have to approve the chassis first, correct?
No. No, it's bought as one piece.
Okay.
Yep, it's bought and
And so
titled
that-
as one piece.
The amount here, the 624,818.05 is for the whole truck?
The whole truck, chassis, everything.
Okay.
I think what Bob was saying, Rob, is if we don't grab that chassis and someone else does, then you have a new problem.
Right. Well, I guess that's why I'm thinking we need a vote to bring to the town council from
move
us.
it to the town
So-
council?
Yeah, to support the efforts in
Sure.
getting this money cleared up so we could
Sure.
buy that chassis.
So currently, we have $356,032.49 available, with between the check and this year's $80,000 that's currently budgeted, that was supposed to be for a payment on the old Vector. We have those two amounts available together. So that only leaves us with $268,785 that we need additional.
However, you're going to have another 80, because it's going to take a year to get, and you're going to keep that 80 in the budget.
Correct.
I mean, I'm ready to make a motion to move it to I'll make a motion that we move it to the town council. Item C under new business, vac truck.
Second.
Okay, any questions? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good work, Bob.
Thank you.
Okay, transfers and appropriations.
None.
Do you have any? Jay, are you still with us?
I'm still with you.
Okay. All right, with just transfers and appropriations, there was none, right?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
you.
Jer.
Thanks, Jerry.
Recording stopped.